Brodes Media.
All right, let's go to the Anytime Hotline. Talk a little Sixers here, and let's go to Billy.
Yo, bro, it's Billy calling in. Love all the work. Appreciate everything you do. Just a question on the Sixers. What direction do you want to see them take in free agency? I know Paul George is a name that's been flying around, but looks like he might be staying in L.A. Do you want to trade for Jimmy Butler? I've heard Mikal Bridges thrown out there. Man, would I fucking love that. Seen Brandon Ingram in trades. Don't know really if I would like that one. And yeah, I mean, unless you want to go the bench route, not the bench route, but, you know, the role player route. I mean, that's been a common trend in the NBA. Just give me a thoughts on what you think. Appreciate it. Thanks, Brodes.
Well, thanks, Billy, for calling in, and that's a great question. And I am so conflicted with this Sixers thing. For a long time now, I was in the mindset of it's a new era of the NBA. Look at what the Indiana Pacers are doing with just a good amount of structured, solid, legitimate NBA players. But at the end of the day, they get swept by a team that has stars. So it only gets you so far. It got them farther than the Sixers ever got with Embiid and Maxey, and that doesn't make me feel very good. And TJ McConnell's out here balling, looking like a star. Not really. Just a really good role player, though, and hitting those unbelievable baseline jumpers. Super fun for TJ, no doubt. But there was a cap on what you can do when you don't have superstar talent. Now, I guess the difference is Joel Embiid and Maxey are 5 times the player anybody on Indiana is. So if you start with at least Embiid and Maxey, and then from there you build a deep roster with serious role players and serious NBA starters, you have the upper echelon talent already that the Indiana Pacers don't have. So maybe that blueprint will work, and you can convince me, no doubt about it. But if you told me right now, what would I want? What is my preferred way to attack this offseason? There's one that is a no-brainer. This is what you go all in trying to do. You make every phone call. You make Joel Embiid make phone calls. I don't care if it's not even allowed. I don't care if it goes against what the NBA lets you do. Everybody sneaks around at this time of the year to try and team up with others. What are you thinking? What are you doing? It's how it goes. Go get LeBron James. If you want a real chance to do this based off of what's available, and when I say that, I'm talking whether it's a trade or whether it's free agency, go get LeBron James. That's what gives you the best chance to do it. Joel, LeBron, Maxey. Let's go take a swing at this. And guess what? If that costs me a first-round pick because I have to go draft Bronny James, you do it. Now, you don't do it just to take a flyer. You do it if you know it's set in stone. Hey, LeBron, we will get this done. We will get your ass to Philadelphia. We'll draft your kid. I'm only doing that if it's about a 92% chance or more that he's coming. If it's 40%, no, I'm not just wasting that first pick on LeBron. I'm telling you, if it is a vocal agreement, you take Bronny, we'll make this thing work, then absolutely no doubt about it. 1,000% yes, 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 yes. That's the best shot at it. Do I want to give up assets for Jimmy Butler at his age, 35, broken down, max contract? Do I want to do that? No. Do I want to go after Paul George? No. I don't feel good about any of this, except LeBron. That's the only one that screams, hey, there's real promise here. The others, it seems more desperation than anything else. Here's where I find myself in a sticky spot, though. And trust me, I understand that this is hard to follow because there's a lot of different things to kind of consider throughout this hypothetical of what Daryl Morey is going to do this offseason. One of the big things that I stand on firmly is I will go down swinging with Joel Embiid until Joel Embiid barges into the GM's office and screams, "Get me the hell out of this city." Until that happens, and I don't know if it ever will, I'm not giving up on Embiid. And if that's the case, if you're trying to squeeze all the juice out of the lemon, it's not preferred to go get Jimmy. But because this is the current landscape of the free agency market, the year Tobias Harris comes off the books, I don't want to do it. But once again, you're trying to squeeze all the juice out of the Joel Embiid lemon. If that's the case, do you swallow your pride and go, all right, we got to try this Jimmy Butler thing. Maybe it doesn't work, but we have to try everything. Or do you go the route of OG? Do you go the route of maybe making trades with the Pelicans, looking for Ingram, looking for Levine? No, I don't love those. I don't love those. I really don't. You could talk me more into OG than Levine and Ingram, but they broke me. They have beaten me down heavily. I didn't want to go the Paul George route, and I don't. But I know that sounds a little playing both sides of the fence, because if you're going to try everything in your power with Embiid and get the best players for him, does Paul George make more sense than building a team like Indiana had? And Indiana ended up not even having a chance to compete against the Boston Celtics when it was all said and done. They didn't have a chance. They got their asses swept. The Sixers were taking Boston to 7 games last year, and realistically, in Game 6 at home, had wide open looks to close things out, and they were just bricking left and right. The Sixers actually compete with Boston more, come up just shy, but they give you way better effort than what the Pacers did over the last few years. Go get LeBron James. Go get LeBron James. That's what I need Daryl Morey to do. Let's take another call, and we'll move forward.
You are incorrect about Tyrese Halliburton, and you will regret it, what you have said about him. And that's okay to be wrong. It's totally okay. But best of luck to you and the 76ers. It's time to blow up the team and get rid of Joel.
What was I wrong when it comes to Tyrese Halliburton? Let me know where I was wrong. Now, when I say he stinks, he's not what everybody thinks he is, in a way, that's a metaphor. I don't even know if that's the right grammar that I'm talking about here. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's not that he actually is the worst NBA player ever. He doesn't stink like Furkan Korkmaz stinks. He stinks in regards to people are blowing it way out of proportion, because what you need to realize is the Sixers have to win now. They don't have time to play the whole, let's see what Halliburton can blossom into. He's only 20-something years old. That's the issue right now between Maxey and Embiid, is their timelines don't match, but you're trying your very best to make this work because you are desperate due to Embiid's timeline. So if you go back in time to Daryl Morey trading Ben Simmons to Harden, if the opportunity to go after it right then and there with the seasoned vet, with the polished pro, with one of the best passers in NBA history facilitating the rock, and you could team that up with Embiid and have the league leader in assists tied together with the league leading scorer in Joel Embiid, you have to take that to almost try to maximize the roster, knowing there's flaws in how early Maxey is in his career, if that makes sense. So I will acknowledge this when it comes to my frustration with the Halliburton trade and the way that Sixers fans have reacted to it over the past year or so. I do think I'm letting the loud minority influence my view of Halliburton. All right, I self-assessed, I looked at it, And there's no doubt that the portion of people that scream at Morey is not the same that view it with more of a logical sense of, hey, maybe we should have valued what Halliburton was more. And if you say it in that tone, maybe we can sit down and talk in a normal way, right? But I do get angry because you can't, in the moment, have any information on how it's going to play out. And if you're Daryl Morey and you have to trade a guy who's unwilling to show up, when he does, he's an issue, he's a locker room problem, he's faking mental health, he's trying to get paid through the CBA, he shows up to practice, says he's going to speak to the media, dips out instead, gets kicked out of practice, and Doc Rivers sends his ass home. When you're dealing with that, and you can bring in a James Harden, forget the he stat. He doesn't. See, that's what I'm saying. That's what gets me angry. I understand that he hasn't won a championship. I've defended the Houston Rockets at the time. Daryl Morey. This is one thing I'll say about this, and I'm telling you, this one gets the blood flowing more than most. He doesn't stink as a general manager or president of basketball ops just because he hasn't won a championship. That doesn't mean you can't put together championship caliber teams. It also doesn't mean me defending him claims that he has never made mistakes or he's perfect. He's not perfect. He does make calculated risks. Sometimes they work. Sometimes they benefit the organization. Sometimes they don't. But I will say that Houston team that lost to one of the most historic Golden State squads in NBA history, just because they went to Game 7 and failed, doesn't mean that he was a problem and he was stupid for building that team and that team is incapable of winning a championship. I thought the 2022 Philadelphia Eagles were built to win a championship. They didn't because Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid in the Super Bowl stole it from us after having a double-digit halftime lead. But the roster Howie Roseman built was good enough to do it. They didn't. Doesn't mean it wasn't good enough to do it. That's how I look at those Houston teams, and you could say, well, that was years ago, and I'm aware of that. But what you can't do is pretend as if when he came here, he didn't have to deal with an Al Horford contract that everybody and their mother said not a soul in the NBA would ever touch. He got rid of that. He traded Josh Richardson and got him out of here as well. You bring in Seth Curry, you get Andre Drummond, you're trying new things. You have a max contract player that he inherited giving you 0 points. 0 points in a closeout game, while Embiid is essentially giving you 40, and Maxi's doing everything in his power to try and help out as well. I mean, there's just only so much you can do when you are handed the slop that Morey was handed. And finally, the year that he has the full throttle to go do something sexy, the free agency market blows.